Good afternoon. I believe it is afternoon now, just to be accurate. Yes, good afternoon. It's 12:03. I'd like to get started. My name is Brian Oglesby. I'm the new interim president and CEO of EMSDC. And it is my pleasure, it is one of my first duties to be the host of New Jersey Economic Development Authority Small Business Services presentation today. I will be very brief in saying that EMSTC is happy to be here and proud to be here and proud of our partnership with NJEDA. And I look forward as the interim president and CEO to further the relationship and continue to provide outstanding services and resources to our MBEs. With that, I'll just do a brief introduction of who will be in the room today. We have Carla Morrison from the Senior Small Business Liaison for NJEDA. Daryl Spence, Senior Business Development Officer, Jermaine Parms from NJEDA, and I am missing Kyle O'Donnell. So say hello to everyone, and with that, I will pass the baton on to Carla.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and be able to tell you guys a little bit about what we have over here at NJEDA. I've been with the organization for a little over 2 years. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I was a small business owner of several businesses in the past before coming over to NJEDA. So I feel as it is a pleasure to be able to help small businesses. I know your positions, I understand your plights. And so I'm just here to let you know some of the things that we have going on over here. Next slide, please. Here at EDA, we're committed to making New Jersey fair, inclusive, and equitable. And we do that through partnerships with stakeholders, and we create opportunities for our small business owners. So that is what our goal is. And we want to make sure that we're creating great jobs for those in New Jersey and helping small businesses thrive. And we do that through several programs. Kyle, next slide, please. We've had some relief packages during COVID, and as you can see, we've had several. We've had grant programs, we've had loan programs, we do technical assistance, assisting some of our partners with technical assistance. We've had community stage relief grant. So we have several opportunities for small business owners, and at the end of our slide, you will see how you can go on our website and find out more information. I want to preface my presentation by letting all of those on know that I will be going through the information. Excuse me. It may seem brief, but just rest assured that everything that I go over will be available on our website. Also, our hosts, they will make sure that you get a recording of everything we go over, and they'll also provide the slideshow. So everything that we go over, don't worry about trying to get all the information because it is available for you later on, okay? Next slide, Kyle. So we, as I said, we've had a couple of programs, and our statistics show that we awarded over 94,000 applicants with funds, and we funded over 710 million and services have been provided with our programs, with our grants and our loans. So we are working hard over here and making sure we get the money out to the businesses. I'm going to first talk about our Main Street recovery effort as a whole, and that is what everything that I'm going to talk about is under that umbrella. And what Main Street Recovery Program is $100 million appropriation, and we have that through grants, loans, and resources to lenders that in turn lend to you as small businesses. Next slide. So our initial product offerings are our small business lease grant, and that launched in October 2021. And then our second program launched was our small business improvement grant, and that actually launched in February. Next slide. Our lease grant was a $10 million appropriation that we have to offset lease payments. Now, everything that I'm talking about is alive with us now, so you have not missed an opportunity. It is live and well and going forward. So all of these things you still have the opportunity, of course, to apply for. And as I said, our lease program, that is actually a program that offsets your lease payments for the first 2 years. And what we do is 2 disbursements. We do a 20% disbursement the first year, and then 12 months later, we will do a second disbursement. And those disbursements consist of 20% of your annual lease payments. Now, what it is you do have to have a 5-year term lease. That is very important. Your lease must be 5-year term. If you do have multiple locations, it is 1 application per location. And we do have a small approval fee of $100. So that is not a fee that you have to pay to apply, but once you're approved, then there will be a $100 approval fee. Next slide. And just to let you know about our eligibility, as an applicant, you must meet SBA's definition of a small business. You must be able to provide us with a current tax clearance certificate. You do have to be in good standing with the Department of Labor and Department of Environmental Protection. And you do have to certify at that time that you are not in default of any of our programs or any state assistance. And again, the very, very important thing is that you do have to be in a facility for at least 5 years. Next slide. And in regards to the lease, it does have to be at least 250 square feet. And we will grant up to 10,000 of that square feet. So if it is over 10,000 square feet, that is okay, but the grant covers up to 10,000 square feet. It does have to be a new lease. New meaning it does have to be a lease you're going into that you already have signed documents for, but also it can't be a year old, over a year old. So as long as when you apply, your lease is under 1 year old, then you are able to apply for it. If you are amending a lease and adding 250 square feet to the space, then you can be eligible for this grant. So that means if it's not a year, if it's over a year old, and you are adding square footage, you are able to apply for this. It does have to include first floor space. So if it is a multi-level building that you're leasing, as long as your operations are happening out of the first floor, then you are eligible. We do require that it is at market rate. So the lease that you're paying and the lease has to be market rate. And it can't be more than a year old when you apply. Next slide. Some exclusions are that you can't terminate a lease in order to qualify for the program. Landlords and tenants cannot have ownership, so that it cannot be owned, the landlord cannot be the owner of the business that is applying for it. And we do get certification from the landlord that you are current on all of your lease payments. And so that is a document that we will provide that your landlord does have to sign off on, saying that you're current. And I just want to let you know in regards to the tax clearance certificate that we will ask for as well. We do give instructions, we give checklists, we give the documents that you need. We'll tell if it's not, the document is not located with the application, we will show you how you can get it. It's right there, the instructions are there. So it's very friendly for applying. Next slide. And so the next one I'm going to talk about is the improvement grant. And the improvement grant, we got appropriated $15 million for this grant. And as the lease program as well, 40% of the funds are set aside for opportunity zones. So the improvement grant works, whereas we will reimburse you 50% of your costs that you did to improve your space. So the grant goes up to 50,000, meaning that your projects up to 100,000, we will reimburse you up to 50,000. And the minimums for your projects and for your application just has to be 5,000. So as long as you have at least 5,000 in projects that we are reimbursing you for, then you are eligible. If you have not quite reached that amount, then we would suggest that you wait. If you're going to do some work, do everything that you're going to do, and then apply for it, because you can only apply once. So once you are approved and you take advantage of the grant, that is it. We're not able to, do things that come along a little bit later. If the business does have multiple locations, it is just one grant per EIN. So you would have to spread it across your locations. So if you're doing work across multiple locations under that one EIN, then you apply for it and you spread it out, okay? This has an $100 approval fee, just like the other one. Next slide. And so what I said, as I said, this is a reimbursement for what you actually have done. And it's for improvements, and it's also for furniture, fixtures, and equipment. And it is open to home-based businesses for furniture, fixtures, and equipment only. So we are not able to reimburse any construction done to a home-based business. But if there are, equipment or furniture that you've put into the business for business purposes, then we're able to reimburse 50% of that. Any of the projects had to be after March 9th, 2020, or it can't be any longer than 2 years. So when you apply, you can only apply for things that you've done in the last 2 years. And then what you have to do when you do apply, you have to certify that the work has been completed. And what we do for proof of completion and proof that you've already paid this, because it is reimbursement, we accept invoices. Along with those invoices, they have to be paid invoices, or you'll have to provide us with canceled checks or bank statements showing that this has already been paid. Again, it just has to be at least $5,000. And if there is a project over $50,000, it is subject to green building standards. Also, you do have to have permission and proven permission through a certification that you did have approval to do the work within the space that you are improving. Next slide. So some of the requirements up under our whole recovery program is that we do have wage requirements. So you do have to be paying your employees $15 an hour or 120% of minimum wage. Also, for the lease grant, you do have to remain in the space for at least 5 years, as I've said. That is very important. We found that a lot of people ended up maybe getting declined if they were not there for 5 years. So that is a very important point. And also for the improvement grant, if you are getting less than $25,000, then you have to be in the space for an additional 2 years after you close on your grant. So you have to be in the space that you're improving, that we're giving the funds for an additional 2 years. And if it's over $25,000 in grant funds that we are giving you, then you do have to remain in the space for at least 4 years. Next slide. So I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Daryl Spence, and he's going to give you more information about what we have over here.
Okay, thank you, Carla. I appreciate that. So to continue under the Main Street Recovery Program, I'm going to talk about the Main Street Micro Business Loan Program. We're excited about this program, and I look for this program to help support many small businesses. Now, the program has not been released as of this date. The program is scheduled to be released late summer. So if you check our website, we won't just release the program, we'll give sufficient time for small businesses to prepare and apply for the Main Street Micro Business Loan. So if you look here at the applicant eligibility, you'll see that this program is open for profit, nonprofit, and home-based businesses in operations at least 6 months. The gross revenue must be 1.5 million or under. Full-time employees, no more than 10 full-time employees. Of course, you must be based in New Jersey. You have to be in good standings with the Department of Labor and the Department of Environmental Protection. You must provide a current tax clearance certificate from the New Jersey Division of Taxation, and at least one owner has to have a credit score of 600 or more. For nonprofits, we will need to underwrite your request, and you must have a debt service coverage of 1.0. And then there's one application or loan per EIN. Next slide, please, Kyle. Thank you. Now with this, you'll see here, I will go over the eligibilities, over the eligibilities and ineligible uses. So you'll see here, it's future business operations, and there's examples of what that means. Future inventory costs, future purchases of equipment with installation costs no more than $1,999. Now we'll take a look at the ineligible uses. You'll see rolling stock, and the examples there: cars, tractors, vans, refinancing of existing debt, projects with construction-related labor or contracts totaling 2,000 or more, which relates to the eligible uses not being over 1999. Personal costs or obligations unrelated to the business. And with home businesses, it cannot be used for residential costs, and you'll see examples there. Next slide, please. Now I'll talk about terms and fees. So with the Main Street Micro Business Loan Program, you'll see it's a standard 10-year term. You get an interest rate of 2%. Yes, 2%. There will be no interest and no principal payment for the first year after closing. No collateral required. Personal guarantees of all owners. So no matter what the shares of your ownership, all personal guarantees for all owners. The fees: there is a $100 non-refundable application fee. And then at the time of closing of the loan, there's a $400 closing fee. Next slide. With the Main Street Micro Loan Program, there is a component of loan forgiveness. Yes, that's right, loan forgiveness. So loan forgiveness is available at the end of the 5th year if the recipient is not in default, has no payment delinquencies over 90 days, and is still open and operating the business. The loan recipient must provide the EDA opening and operating certificate form 60 days prior to the end of the 5th year. Payments must continue until the New Jersey EDA receives and approves this form. If the applicant is not eligible for forgiveness, then payment terms remain in effect for the full term of the loan. Thank you. Next slide. Once again, if you look at I'm looking at the eligibility for home profit businesses, also no more than 10 employees. And this slide is just a redundancy of the previous slide. The benefits, you'll see the benefits with the 10-year term, 2% interest, no collateral required. And then the third, forgivable. So there is a forgivable component to this loan at the end of 5 years. Okay, thank you. I'll go to the other products, and here I'll talk about some loan products that we do provide. Next slide, please. So the first product is a direct loan program. Now this direct loan program, you must be in business for 2 full years and reporting a profit. Now the eligibility for the direct loan program: committed to create or retain 1 full-time job for every 65,000 of New Jersey EDA exposure within 2 years. You need collateral to secure the loan. There is an application fee of $1,000 and commitment and closing fees, which is 0.875%. You must meet a 1.1 debt service coverage for for-profit companies, and for nonprofit companies, a debt service coverage of 1.0. This particular program, the direct loan program, unlike some of the other programs, is not eligible to home-based businesses. Now the business benefits of this direct loan: flexible interest rates, and you can borrow up to $2 million for fixed assets, which is real estate or equipment, up to $750,000 for working capital, although you still need collateral, tangible collateral, amortization periods of 5 years for working capital, 10 years for equipment transactions, and that's typically for new equipment, and 20 years for real estate. Now, we can go longer than 20 years for real estate, and we can take a look at that. Next slide, please. The next program I have is the Small Business Fund. Now, one of the differences with the Small Business Fund and the direct loan program is you only have to be in business 1 full year with revenue less than $3 million. And you have to report a profit. The eligibility is you need collateral to secure the loan. There is an application fee of $300 and a closing and commitment fee, each 0.5%. You must meet the debt service coverage just like you did in the direct loan. For-profit companies, 1.1, and for nonprofits, 1.0. Once again, with this program, home-based businesses are not eligible. As we look at the benefits, flexible interest rates again, up to $500,000 financing for fixed assets, which include real estate or equipment, and up to $500,000 for working capital. You will still need collateral. Next slide, please. Next, I'm going to talk about our community development financial institution loans to lender programs. This is a program where we work with various CDFIs, and you can see a couple of them in your bottom right-hand corner. The EDA provides funding to these CDFIs so that they can establish programs and technical training. So those programs include loan programs and technical programs in order to help support small businesses and the small business community. If you look at the eligibility, CDFIs looking to qualify for this loan through the program must have a minimum of 5 years of demonstrated lending and portfolio management history. The CDFIs can use the New Jersey EDA funding to provide term loans, lines of credit to qualified businesses. The premier CDFI cannot use loan to lender funding to finance requests through the CDFI program, premier program. Now, the benefits by leveraging our resources at the New Jersey EDA, the CDFIs can provide financing to more small businesses. And if you're interested, here are some of the CDFIs on our website, which we will provide links to. You will see a list of CDFIs that we work with. Next slide, please. This program is in partnership with a number of organizations, the African American Chamber of Commerce, and I'm happy to say the New Jersey Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the statewide Chamber of Commerce, is also participating in this program. Now, this program is where you get a classroom training on these particular disciplines: finance, operations, contract law, QuickBooks, consulting services. And then the benefits are to help support bonding and insurance, community outreach, capital management, compliance and monitoring, back office services, and construction. Now, this program is about to start in September, and you'll see that there were 105 graduates from the prior programs with qualifying for $40 million in bonding. So once again, this program is going to start in September. You will work with our partners at the African Chamber of Commerce and the statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Next slide, please. All right, so that ends my presentation here. Carla, thank you very much. We're now going to move to Jermaine Farms, who's going to present some pertinent information for contractors. Go ahead, Jermaine.
Thank you, Darryl. Good afternoon to everyone. Just want to thank the Eastern Minority Supply Development Council again. Thank you for allowing us to speak with your members and our respective participants of your agency just to get this valuable information out. I want to thank my colleagues also at EDA who are very busy processing and doing a multitude of things that take place here at EDA to make sure that our public is being served. So I want to thank you. And I just want to go back 1 second because Daryl mentioned the bonding program. The bonding program has been expanded. As of this year, the African American Chamber has been performing the bonding program for the last couple of years. We expanded this year to add the statewide Hispanic Chamber. If you go to our website, you'll see a little bit more context about the bonding readiness program. And you'll also see my name and email there if you want to find out more information or get connected to both of the chambers to be a potential participant. So I just wanted to mention that while it was fresh and that we had just covered that slide. If you go to our website, that info is there. So now moving forward, I wanted to make sure, especially for this audience, especially for the region that's covered with this particular council out of the NMSDC network, that we went over what has taken place with our New Jersey Windport project, which is a very important project for not just EDA, but for the administration for a multitude of reasons, to make sure that one, we have a stake in making sure, that the vendors and the people that participate on the project, from workforce to our multiple vendors that come from every different community, whether they're minority, women, veterans, small business, service disabled veteran business, our new addition in terms of certifications that's in process for the LGBTQ plus community. So we wanted to make sure we cover this information, especially since the council network works to help build and foster relationships with MBEs and businesses that are looking to not just work on the corporate sector, but also private and public. So our overall goals and the things that we wanted to get started with, we had to do a specific study to actually outline and have goals for the project, which was very important to this administration and very important to NJEDA. So a specific study regarding diversity and building capacity for having goals was done with Rutgers University prior to the project even starting. All right, we can go to the next one. So AECOM Tishman was selected to be our strategic partner. The person you see in the picture is the Senior VP of Transportation and Infrastructure, Gareth Middleton. Was very instrumental in making sure that we find diverse suppliers and we utilize every avenue possible to find all of the talent that we know is here in New Jersey and the surrounding areas. And just to give you a quick outline of kind of where we are and give a snapshot. The construction began sometime in 21, and the Windport to be substantially complete early in 2024, which miraculously looks like it's kind of on schedule. Scheduling for construction is very tentative. It depends on weather, it depends on contracts, it depends on funds and a lot of different things that happen behind the scenes to make sure that we can get to the finish line. But due to the hard work and the participation, a lot of stuff has been moving forward at a decent rate. So phase one, construction activity, marine work, which is done by the Ferrara Pearson JV, earthwork, dredging, mechanical, that's Weeks Marine, earthwork was South State, roadway utilities, it's a company called Mal Construction, electrical, which is being mobilized now that we have them aboard, is by McPhee. All of the companies you see are New Jersey companies from different parts of New Jersey. You'll see when we go over the goals that we wanted to utilize all of the talent here, as well as make sure we were covering specific areas of New Jersey, more specifically the southern regions. Phase two work is expected to kick off going into 23, and everything is supposed to be ready, as I call it, by 2026. We can go to the next slide. So I mentioned our goals, which is very important to us. And again, important to this administration and everyone involved with the process. And after we had our diverse study done by Rutgers University, a strategic partner, and making sure that we have this outline, 15% minority woman veteran-owned business was established, 25% for small business enterprise, 3% for service-disabled veteran business, and ACOM Tishman, construction manager and partner, also designated 6% set aside for goal for local businesses, businesses that are local to the project, the southern regions of New Jersey, meaning past Trenton, right? So when we start saying southern region, we have to be clear because that means different things to different people. But businesses that are local to Salem and the surrounding areas, we wanted to make sure that, again, we're covering as much ground to find all of the talented businesses that can be found. We're proud to say that a lot of businesses from the southern region have been picked up to work on a project, whether it's a prime contractor. This project was broken up into many primes instead of being authored by one company directly, with ACOM Tishman serving as our at-risk construction manager to make sure everything is tied together. So we've been getting a lot of traction on making sure that we get businesses that are in the southern regions as well. And that's a commitment of ACOM. So you want to go to the next one? So marine work. Again, the Ferrara Pearson JV, which serves as a, for purposes, to clarify, it serves as an MBE. It serves as a large scale MBE. And we've had what we call Meet the Prime Contractor events, just to make sure that we're putting in front of our respective businesses that usually get left out of these types of projects, what's happening with the project, what type of work is available, what the prime contractors that made it to contract are actually looking for on the project. Like, what do we have available? Also, with the type of project of this magnitude, sometimes things change and there might be a demand for something that wasn't necessarily scoped out, and then we can source amongst the many networks that we have, including this particular network, who's out there that might be a valuable participant. So for the marine package, you know, these were the major things that they were looking for from, again, XBE firms, meaning our minority, women, veterans, small business, service disabled, LGBTQ+, any of our talented businesses that can fit the scope. You know, work include concrete piles, installation, grading, precast, install, sheeting install, concrete and reinforcement, H-pile, RCP, precast plank install, miscellaneous steel, which could mean purchasing, some installation, marine accessory installation. A lot of these things we're trying to source right here from companies that are in New Jersey. We have been successful in finding a lot of talent throughout the state, and we want to make sure that the project reflects people that are coming here, they live here, they live in a community, and they're able to have an opportunity with the project. We can go to the next one. So rounding out other opportunities, you know, we're looking for everything. If there's an opportunity to turn over and, you know, and make sure that we're looking for a diverse business, whether it's the major things that I mentioned or stuff that is as general as this, which we would characterize under being what we call general conditions. Printing services, office supply, you know, water delivery, fueling. You know, this is important. I don't know who's with us that might have been to the Salem and surrounding area, but once you get out into these areas where the nuclear facility is, and you know, off of the main roadway, you know, Salem is kind of like the last exit before you start heading into another state. So once you go out and into Salem, these things become very critical, because it's not a quick store run, if you will, to just say, hey, we're going to go over here. So water delivery, water on the site, portable toilets, cleaning services, dumpsters, you know, office supply, anyone that can provide these items, you know, we're looking to connect them to these opportunities. So concrete was picked up. This package was picked up by HC Constructors Incorporated. Again, another local business here in New Jersey. And we had Mr. Scott Handel join us. It was important for us to connect names, faces, titles, who's working on a project, who these companies are. You know, all of this information is very important and very valuable. Scope of the items that they're looking for was spillway foundation, water tank foundation, utility and secure proof, concrete pads, and 4x6 security booths. Doesn't sound like a lot, but these are the things that make construction projects go. You know, it's a lot of times that the things that are outside of the general scope of construction are not considered. And we want to make sure that, again, any and every opportunity is made available for a company in New Jersey or our surrounding areas that might be able to provide it. Again, on the other side of things that people might not have at the top of their head, dewatering, trucking, fencing, sidewalks, curbs, landscape, rebar installation, you know, stuff that we know. We have businesses here, we have union workers that can do a lot of this work. And again, we want to make sure all of these opportunities hit what we call street level, just to make sure that, you know, people are aware. We can go to the next one. So the electrical package went to McPhee. Again, a New Jersey company. I think they're in the Union County area. I think McPhee is in Plainfield, in somewhere in that area. But the package just went to them recently, within I want to say the last 45 days. And their scope of work includes, excavate, backfill for electrical ducts, banks and lighting, footings and foundations, furnace and installation, manholes, communication vaults, handholds and raceway. Furnish and installation for concrete ducts, drilling shaft and foundations. You know, again, all stuff that we can get from being able to sub to some businesses here in New Jersey. Furnishing and installing mass lighting, you know, again, important for visibility, especially when people are you know, the seasons change and we start to get dark quicker and people are out there working, or when they're out there very early in the morning and it's still kind of not high visibility, so you need the lights. Furnace and install all power distribution equipment, power devices and feeder cable. Again, very important stuff, you know, things that don't normally come to mind on most projects, but definitely a project of this magnitude, we want to make sure that we find talent. Furnish and install all communication equipment. Again, it's important. It's very barren down in those areas. I can assure you, if you go down to the Salem area, you will start to see your bars drop. Your emails will not populate and other stuff. So, you know, communications equipment and installation is definitely very important. Fiber backbone cabling, very important for us as well. More possible subcontract opportunities: drill shaft foundation, concrete forming, quarry, construction equipment services. You know, equipment can be multiple and various. Hard hats, you know, OSHA approved hard hats, vest, you know, boots, gear, gloves, PPE items. We still need this stuff. You know, construction equipment, again, covers anything that's needed, not just for them, but somebody else on a project. Electrical gear and communication, distributors, trenching and excavation, fiber splicing. You know, we know this is, again, stuff that we can find within certain specs, union workers and smaller vendors that might have direct experience doing this stuff. Trailer, job site services, generator, fueling, again, in these types of areas, all of this stuff is very critical. QA, QC testing, inspection services, again, all needs on a project. So the next prime that we had Douglas Maffei join us from Mount. Mount is a South Jersey company down in Berlin. And, you know, this is just an outline of some of the stuff that Mount is asking for: installation, parcel C, firm install, outfall structure. Let me correct myself. Install parcel A drainage, you know, that's important. Installation of graded aggregate base, installation of water storage tanks, again, very important stuff to these projects of these types of magnitude. Possible subcontract opportunities from now, structural steel erect, very important. There's definitely subcontractors that we can find in New Jersey that can do this stuff. Concrete, again, concrete work, stuff that we can get union labor and also get subs involved. So South State, again, another company, New Jersey, in the southern regions. I think they're not too far from the project. I think they're either in a general area or a neighboring town. We had Andrew Shaw join us on behalf of South State, general contractors. And the type of items and things that they're doing are excavation, placement, and removal of 1.2 million cubic yards of confined disposal facilities. So, again, important stuff. Surcharging for the marshaling area, and 2 phases for soil compaction, monitoring progress, remove surcharge or proposed upgrade and grade, install final aggregate base course to final grade, and preparing the site for the next steps. That's critical because these things being done correctly help prepare for the next phases of the project. And again, all work and stuff that we know we can get from talented companies right here in New Jersey. Soil erosion, sediment control materials and installation, portable office facilities, portable toilets. Again, this is very barren area, so all of this stuff is critical. I can assure you, there's no 3-minute ride to get something to eat or get replenishments out there where people are working. So critical stuff, trucking, recycling, waste management, and then tools. Tools, again, multiple and various, tools, equipment, stuff that we know we can get from talented businesses, that come from our diverse communities. So Weeks picked up a decent sized package, and this work is very critical, high level work, removal of the exciting broken piling and exciting rock arraignment, dredging the berth rock dock. And this is stuff I'm actually interested in because I used to read this stuff and say, well, what exactly does it mean? But it also creates some work to pick up some subs and pick up some workers that could work on the project and become contractors as well to some of these primes. Other things lined up for Weeks: dumpster services, again, critical, debris removal, turbidity curtain installation and management, Portal John, critical, water, temporary office trailers. So, with all of these primes, they need workstations. So you'll see these things kind of be common amongst the primes. Portal John, people that can provide water, equipment, other stuff. Each prime is going to have kind of like their own little camp setup. So you'll see some of the stuff is going to be a constant need. But the other thing is, it gives you multiple people to reach out to find out what they need. So if you don't connect with one prime, the other prime is going to need it. Or possibly the manager who is a competition. So resources, you're here by way of being connected as being part of the larger network, the National Minority Supplier Development Council Network. If you're a certified supplier, you've gone through the certification process, and credit to you for making use of a national certification with great standing. For full disclosure, I used to work in the NMSDC network, so I know how much gravitas their certification holds and how valuable it is in terms of making connections. We also want to make sure, not just for this project or anything else particular, but just to make sure to hold in front of you that you should, if you are a certified supplier in the NMSDC network and you're with the Eastern Minority Supplier Development Council, that you should look into getting certified by the state. Your Eastern Minority Supplier Council certification does hold gravitas when you apply, for state certification as an MBE. You're always able to click off that you are certified and that you're certified under NMSDC guidelines. I would encourage anyone that is certified that's on this call. If you're not state certified, do yourself a favor and do it. We don't have a particular reciprocity in place, but the gravitas for the certification will help you go through the state certification process a little quicker. And because you've gone through the process with the council, you will already be in line to have the documents needed to go through the certification process a little quicker than someone that has never been through it. There's a link there, and you know, please use that link to start the process. The process is online now. You can do everything that way. There's no charge. You are able to you know, furnish the items that you used for your NMSDC certification, so they will be consistent in terms of articles of formation, business taxes, resume of principals. All of those things will still be critical on this side of the universe. Again, it just gives you another footprint into finding some potential opportunities and helping you be recognized as there's other things in the works. And there's always people, whether it's a corporation or a private entity, you know, we have some very high level companies in New Jersey that are always looking for vendors. And you have to remember that the NMSDC database is not public. So this is another way you can be found on the public entity side. Usually the process takes about 45 to 60 days. So it's gotten a lot better. Treasury has had to bear the brunt of the changes that have been happening. So they got a lot of applications for cannabis and other things. And we create a lot of programs where we're asking vendors to prove that they're certified. So they've been handling it well, but definitely showing that you've already gone through the process helps you out. And it definitely can aid in shortening that time by showing that you've already been certified. So we're at the back end. We're probably about, from my watch, about 10 minutes out from 1 o'clock. And this information is for anyone that is looking to garner, you know, any resource in terms of connecting with any of the primes that I mentioned or ACOM Tishman himself. This info at NJ Wimport CM is the way to go. And this was specifically designed to make sure that your inquiry to connect with a prime contractor doesn't go to the black hole. We didn't want contractors aimlessly trying to reach out to the primes. These companies get a lot of emails. They get emails about different solicitations every day, not just the Wimport project, but anything they're working on. ACOM Tishman, again, huge company working on mega projects. But this info at NJ Wimport CM is your way because it's monitored. We do have it monitored 3 different ways to make sure your inquiry is met. We actually do the work of tracking down a prime contractor that you're seeking. So whether it's the Pearson Ferrara JV or any of the primes that I mentioned during this broadcast, if you have interest in connecting with them regarding a good service, etc., this is the way to make your inquiry. From our side of the universe, we will then reach out to them for you instead of you firing off an email and hoping that they get back to you. We will connect the dots for you and make sure that your inquiry is met with the respective prime that you are trying to connect with regarding any opportunities. So please use that. And as I always say, tell people in these broadcasts, if you do not hear from anyone at InfoAt within a certain time, please feel free to reach out to me directly and bring it to my attention, and I will make sure that your inquiry is addressed properly. So Kyle, I think at this point you are able to jump in.
Yeah, so that wraps up the presentation. So we will open it up to Q&A. Meg, I see that there is one question in the Q&A. Are you able to pull that up for us?
Yes, Benjamin asked if we can send the summary and recording by Friday, and I should be able to get that out by tomorrow.
Perfect.
There you go.
Any other?
Actually answered Daryl and myself. There were a couple in Q&A that Daryl and myself were able to take care of, so I don't see anything else in there.
Oh, nice, nice.
Good multitasking for the EDA team and the AMSDC team.
Nice.
So with that, I think we can wrap up this program. Thank you to everybody who participated, who attended, and then a huge thank you to the Eastern Minority Supplier Diversity Council, the entire team over there. Valerie, Brian, Meg, Brittany, thank you so much for having us come and present our programs. And then a huge shout out to the EDA team, Jermaine, Carla, and Daryl. Always happy to have you present on our programs. And I think we can wrap up from there.
Thank you so much.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the
Have a
rest of the
great
day.
day.